There is a break the glass scenario, and there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out, and we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen.
If Hilton wins the gubernatorial race and Pratt wins the mayor's seat in New York, Gavin Newsom has no chance at the presidency in 2028.
The AP just officially called the LA mayor's race. Nithya Raman and Karen Bass will officially advance to the next election.
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk about
your elections in this country. We're like a third world country.
Well, Mr. President,
you're one-sided, crooked network. So let's call it quits because I've had enough.
I want all of you awake at night sweating and worried about 5 a.m. when the FBI blazers bust in the door, breaking open your office, because I assure you, they're coming. You think your election was going to stop me? If you want to stop me,
you're going to have to f***ing kill me!
The LA elections are pretty much wrapping up, and there's not too many votes left to count. And the mayoral runners that made it to the primaries are Karen Bass and Nithya Raman. And that's it, right? Pretty much it's done. The elections are over. The primaries are about to come up in November. Let's go ahead and start revving up for November. Let me stop you there. I don't think that this is necessarily over when it comes to the elections in LA, even though they already projected there are 2 primaries for the mayoral runners. And I think that there is going to be a huge fight that's going to go on in LA in the next couple of months. And it's going to be pretty crazy to see. There's a lot of talk from Donald Trump saying there's a lot of fraud going on in California. LA has a tight stronghold when it comes to the Democratic Party and their candidates that run for mayor there. And we've seen that for the last 15 years. And if you go to LA, it's not necessarily the safest city. I mean, anybody, you don't even have to be political. You could just go there and look around and see all the homeless people. And you're like, why are there so many homeless people? And there's crime going on there too. I think that there is going to be a legal fight when it comes to the votes. And I'm not just a tinfoil conspiracy theorist that thinks this. These are literally the laws of the land of California when it comes to voting. You cannot ask for voter ID. The people who count the votes and you go in to vote, they legally cannot ask you if you are a voter or not. You can go into the ballots if you are a brand new voter. Don't have to show residency or nothing. You just go in there, say, hey, I'm a voter here. They give you a paper, you sign it, and you vote that day with no proof. Apparently, what it says is they'll check later on to see if it's a valid vote, and they'll void it, which, I mean, come on now. If it's for their party, they're not going to void that vote. Recently, Newsom signed into law that it is illegal to look into the ballots, to look into the votes to make sure that they are valid votes. So if you are like law enforcement, a third party, you see somebody, you know, it looks a little fishy over there, right? With the voting system over there, you can't look into it. You can't verify. You can't have them look into it to verify to you or whatever entity that these are valid votes, which is crazy. It's not even something that we voted on. This is an executive order that Newsom put up, so any other governor that comes up, they can just tear it off and it'll be back to normal. So this brings the question, why are they doing this? Why is this something that they are so persistent of doing when it comes to Democrats running cities, states? It's not just California. Some places like New York is like this too. Why are they so persistent of stopping voter ID? It makes no sense. If their party is good and popular and everybody loves them, why do they have to do this? The laws of California makes it very easy to cheat. Newsom signed an executive order. Nobody voted for these laws. It just happened. And I personally didn't even know about these laws until recently, until I looked into it, because it's just baffling that this is a law in California. Even people like Bill Maher, Stephen A. Smith, huge Democrats, they didn't even know this was a law until Republicans from California brought it up to them. And it's the craziest thing ever. And you look at everything going on here, and a rational person, you can even be a Democrat, you look at this and think to yourself, this could be fraudulent because you cannot verify these votes. Even people have been exposing recently that they were paying homeless people to vote. How on God's green earth are you allowing homeless people to even vote? How like it's illegal for criminals to vote, but how do we know that criminals aren't voting in these elections too? People with felonies. You can't verify it. There's no way to verify these votes. And by California standards, yeah, it could be legal. But when you look at the law, They are making something that is illegal legal. This is just in plain sight and everybody sees it. And the Supreme Court is going to strike down the late-in mail-in ballots pretty soon. They have been talking about it. It seems like that they're going to strike it down. So that's a huge blow when it comes to voter fraud. I'm sure that these fraudsters will find some other way to, rig the election or whatever. But this will stop them from looking at what's going on and then, okay, we need these votes to make it seem legit, which is a really good thing. And the U.S. Attorney General has been blocked from Democrats from verifying these votes, which is very damning from somebody who is not innocent in the situation. Guilty people hide stuff from you. It was very suspicious because the amount of homelessness that is in LA matched with the amount of votes that came in late. That is a very suspicious thing indeed. And also, this came out that people who voted for Spencer Pratt had their votes returned. How come Spencer Pratt was the only person, the only candidate that had their votes returned? There's none from Karen Bass. There's none from Nithya Raman. It's only Spencer Pratt. And there's thousands of them. And I know that Trump says a lot of stuff, like he says about the 2020 election being rigged, which now I'm starting to see it might be actually true that the 2020 elections might have influenced a lot of fraud because of these states that allow this crazy law that you can vote without voter ID. But we know that Trump can say a lot of stuff, but I think he's telling the truth here. I think that Trump knows something that we don't know. Obviously, he's not going to say it out loud because he doesn't want Democrats to know and then they can change their tactic. He knows something that we don't know. And recently he tweeted they are going to prosecute people for voter fraud in LA. So there is going to be lawsuits happening and there's going to be people that are going to get prosecuted. When it is proved that a good amount of it is voter fraud, there's two scenarios that can happen in this situation. And they have until July 7th to do this. So that's a long ways away. That's weeks and weeks away. So there are two scenarios that can happen in LA pretty soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. So scenario one, I think that somebody needs to request a recount. In LA, when you request a recount, you file the request and you pay whatever the fee is to go and start the recount because it costs a lot of money. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of rich people in LA. So somebody who's conservative that lives there has the money, they could trigger a recount and the Democrats will be forced to recount every single vote. So they would have to go through the votes, verify that the signatures match, make sure that the people live at where they live at, and that would probably help out a lot. And I think that would give Spencer Pratt a leg up in this election and possibly even a chance to make it to the primaries against Karen Bass. And scenario two, which I think that the federal government is trying to do right now, and that's what's great about our Constitution because we have protections when it comes to federal and state, entities coming in and interfering with stuff like election. This isn't China. You can't just come in and dig into the votes and find the right ones and then make your guy win. You can't do that. This isn't a communist country. This is America. So I think what Trump is trying to do here is file a petition to the Supreme Court of California, prove the impact of showing that there's a lot of fraudulent votes and this actually affected the election and we want a recount and make sure all the votes are verified. And then there will be a court hearing where the judge reviews all the cases that are going on. And if there are tons of fraudulent votes in LA and there's proof and people are being prosecuted and being thrown into prison, this would be good enough evidence for a judge to look at it and reconcile the votes. Even a possible re-election, that would be crazy if it triggered a re-election. That would be the craziest thing ever. If there was a re-election in LA and they enforced all these laws, right? Like even voter ID to verify that these votes are true. And this would be a huge W for Trump and a huge L for Newsom. I think that this will totally affect Newsom's run. I mean, Steve Hilton made it to the primaries when Newsom is trying to run for president saying that his state is fine and good, but we are having a Republican running against a Democrat, which is crazy because if this state was hand in hand, we would be going for another Democrat, right? And these two scenarios, either A, which probably won't happen, is the re-election. It's really, really rare for something like that to happen. Like I said, there would have to be a lot of voter fraud proven. The judge has to go off on it, which I have a little confidence in the Supreme Court in California because the judges we have are really good. So I'm sure if the judge sees a lot of fraud going on, they might reconsider a re-election. But like I said, it's really rare. But I think the most likely thing to happen is a recount. Somebody in LA who has a lot of money that can afford it can trigger this recount and have the Democrats sit there and verify every single vote with a third party or somebody watching, because you can't sit here and have one party counting all the votes. I'm sorry, especially like with the Democratic Party. We know how crazy they are. We've seen it the last 4 years. They went after Trump. They tried to put a bullet in his head. They took out Charlie Kirk. You see the protests of them getting violent with people. We know that the voters of the Democratic Party, the hardcore voters that are dedicated to the party, are willing to even throw their lives on the line for something that is a complete, utter lie. And you don't think that they would do this in California, especially LA. But, that's just my theory about everything going on. In my humble opinion, I think that there is, some sort of fraud going on. I mean, look at the law. There is ways to do this legally. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. And I think that a lot of stuff is going to happen in the next couple of months when it comes to LA and when it comes to election laws. The Supreme Court is going to strike down late-in mail-in ballots, which that's going to totally have a huge blow when it comes to voter fraud. And Trump is also attaching the SAVE Act to a budget reconciliation for the ICE and DHS funding, which only needs a 51 to 50 vote. And they already have 52 votes. So this is a huge W for Trump to put that on there and send it back to the Senate, and they're going to vote on it. And I have faith that there's going to be enough Republicans in the Senate, which I know there's a lot of running Republicans, and a lot of them are actually going to lose their seat this election, which is great. But that's just my humble opinion about what's going on in LA. I don't think it's over yet. I think that something's going to happen, and I think that the Democrats know this. Trump is not going out without a fight. He is going to fight for LA. He's going to fight for California. He's going to fight for this country. If we are to have fair elections again, we got to pass the voter ID laws. We have to pass the SAVE Act. Votes are so vital for a society to grow. It can either destroy or grow a society. Just ask yourself this. Do you think that what Trump is doing is right and he's actually doing this to save America? Or is he doing this because he's a tyrannical freaking Hitler 2.0, whatever they want to say about him? What do you guys think about this video? What do you guys think about these scenarios I'm laying out for you? Because I think this is interesting, and I don't think it's over. I really don't think it's over. But go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Go ahead and like the video if you liked it. And go ahead and subscribe if you're new to this channel. I like to do stuff like this. So if you guys like it, definitely like the video. Hype up the video. Let people know that it's not over for LA, and I don't think it's over either. And I'll see you guys in the next video.